My name is Yael Sachs. I'm one of the co-founders of African Tales. We started in 2006. So the reason we started African Tales was to create a sustainable solution for the overpopulation of neglected dogs in the Western Cape. And there are three ways that we do that. We do that through education, sterilisation and homing. We do mass sterilisation, and we truly believe if we focus on one area at a time and we sterilise 70 to 80% of the breeding population in that area, that we can make a true impact.
So according to best practice, it is best to sterilise at least 70% of the breeding pet population to have the most lasting effect on the community and the animals. So we're currently in Pella, which is a town just between Mamaray and Atlantis in the Western Cape. And we're aiming to sterilise around 600 to 650 animals a year. And that has been just proven, scientifically proven, that through sterilisation and educational campaigns, you dramatically reduce the animals being born into a lifetime of suffering and neglect.
So in 2017 and 2018, we did a sterilisation of 75% of the population in Mamaray on the west coast, where we sterilised 1,954 animals. We did a census of all the animals in the area and visited each home a minimum of 2 times. Thereafter, we do maintenance of the area. We truly believe that education forms a very important role and part of the campaign. So we don't just sterilise animals and leave, we then educate all the homes and the population about sterilisation, animal care, to prevent neglect in the future, because if you're just going to sterilise and leave, then the problem is just going to reoccur again. Our African Tales is fully funded through public, through people like you, through companies. We don't get any government funding. We rely on the kindness and of our friends, family, companies, corporates, and the general public. So we have 2 market days a month, and we are here at the Granger Bay Market once a month on the last Saturday of every month. So we bring some puppies and dogs that are up for adoption. We also sell some of our merchandise. We've got our 2019 calendar that we sell at this market. We sell other things like we have some colouring books where all the artists donated. They donated their images, and this is an adult colouring book. And we've got little things like key rings, and this, for example, this keyring will sponsor a deworming. This keyring over here will sponsor a mange treatment. Everything we sell here today is fully non-profit, and all proceeds go to African Tales to fund sterilisation and treatments for neglected animals in impoverished areas. So we get calls from the public. At any given time, the public will call and say they've seen either a dog on the side of the road, or a family will call to say a neighbour has a dog that's neglected, or just generally on our field working days. We have field workers that go into impoverished areas and will do sterilisation days and just days when they're going to check up on the communities that we are working in, and then by word of mouth we'll hear about animals that need treatment. We'll see a dog that's on a chain, we'll see a dog that's malnourished. If the dog doesn't have an owner, then the dog will come into the care of African Tales and will go to one of our foster homes, which means we don't have kenneling facilities. So all the dogs go into a family environment. They get assessed by behaviourists to see how well they interact with children and dogs, etc. And then they get their treatment. And then once they're healthy, they will come to one of these adoption days. And they always are sterilised, of course. We never will home a dog to a forever home without them being sterilised.
My name is Sandra de Villiers, and I am a foster mom for African Tales. I foster the dogs, and because you can foster cats and dogs with African Tales. I've had 9 successful fosters who have then been adopted. 1 foster failure, which is affectionately when your foster becomes adopted. So we are now the proud parents of Sophie. She's about 4 months old, and I'll be happy to have her, and we're hoping that she can be the doggy foster mom for our future fosters. So what you do is you do an online application form. It's on African Tales website. They just ask you a few questions just to get an understanding of, what environment do you have, what kind of animal would you like to foster, is there any preferences you may have, are you able to foster on a long-term basis, short-term, those sorts of questions. Once you've submitted your application form, African Tales will contact you, and they'll do a home check. If you are happy to continue with the process, they'll do a home check just to ensure that the environment is safe and it's happy and conducive to a rescue dog or rescue cat living there. If that gets the green light, then you are signed up as a foster, and as soon as a foster becomes available, African Tales contacts you to let you know. If you don't have a preference, the first available animal that comes their way, they'll contact you and see if you're available. If you have a preference, they'll wait until an animal that you prefer comes along, and they'll contact you and drop them off, and they're yours to be looked after. A lot of these rescue dogs come from very abused and neglected environments, and it's absolutely amazing, to be the first person that they get to meet, that you get to teach them about love and safety and how to be a dog, an environment where they're fed every day and they're spoken to and loved and given affection. You get to be chapter 1 of that journey, and when you then get to see what chapter 2 is, the family that want to love them and take care of them for the rest of their life, it is extremely rewarding, and it brings a lot of joy knowing that you were part of that and that you get to hand them over to a family that are going to take great care of them. So that's how I'm able to be at peace with giving them on. This is Sophie. She is our foster failure, as I previously mentioned. She was found abandoned in a nappy bag on the side of the road. She was riddled with fleas, ticks, and apparently worms as big as she was at the time that she was rescued. No one knows where she came from, why she was there, and the manager at African Tales actually thought she might pass away because she was in such a bad state. But she's a fighter, and fortunately she made it through the first 24 hours, and she's now here with us.
Community leaders in the specific areas that we are working in, and we do talks to the schools. We truly believe that the children are the future, of course, and it's very important to speak to them at a young age, 6, 7, 8 years old, when they're very, they're impressionable and they are learning about animals, and they really take this into the future. And we find that if we teach them how to care for their animals, we have seen that they'll come to us and the animals are not cared for. We'll speak to them, and the next month we will see them petting the animals, feeding the animals, whereas before they may have not known how to treat their animals. And we have seen an impact in this, and it's a great impact, and it's so wonderful to see and very heartwarming to see how education does flow through, and it doesn't go in one ear and out the other. If you're really doing it properly, the communities do understand.
So foster homes are the limiting factor. The more fosters African Tales have, the more animals they're actually able to help and take in. So if people can sign up as foster parents, even if it's only one dog that you ever foster, that's one dog that was able to be rescued, one dog more that was able to find a home. So that is a huge limiting factor. So more fosters mean more animals get rescued, more animals come off the streets, and that's the goal.
We want to thank everyone out there for your support, and your generous donations allow us to do the work we do. We work in impoverished communities where there is often no animal welfare, and the communities rely on African Tales to provide education and sterilization. And if you love the work we do and appreciate it, we would love you to make a donation. You can visit our website on www.africantales.coza for more information, or follow us on Instagram and Facebook. You can see live what the work that we do, the animals that are being rehabilitated, and the sterilization campaigns live as they happen. And thank you very much for everything.